Hello, everyone. My name is Hansika Janola, and before I start my speech, I want to make two things pretty clear. The first is the definition of feminism, and the second is an anecdote from my life. They're very important to what I'm going to be talking about. The definition of feminism is the social, economic, and political equality of the sexes. And the second is an anecdote about my life that inspired me to write this speech. When I was 7 years old in elementary school, I got blacklisted from wall ball. If you don't know, wall ball is a game where you take a ball, throw it at a wall, and then you catch it. It's pretty simple, right? And that's what I thought too, so I decided to join them. And when I did, I realized that I was good. So good, in fact, that the boys felt the need to blacklist me from the game. I don't think I've ever thought much about it till now, until I started writing this speech. But it isn't just the banning from the game, is it? It's a symptom of a much larger problem that so many of us face every single day. How many young women do you think have been discouraged from joining a sport because the field is male-dominated right now? How many are spoken over in class projects because the male counterparts obviously know better? And how many have been told to opt for more feminine career paths? Today, I'd like you to listen closely as we uncover these subtle yet impactful encounters that shape our experiences and ultimately our futures. Let's explore how these whispers carry weight and why it's crucial to address them. So what exactly am I talking about? What I'm talking about is something called a microaggression. And what those are basically those little digs, actions, or comments that don't seem like a big deal, but eventually they bottle up and they undermine our fight for equality. These comments, particularly in feminism, manifest in ways that diminish the experiences and contributions of innumerable individuals. They perpetuate stereotypes and reinforce systemic barriers. And this isn't fair, because everyone deserves to feel respected and valued regardless of their situation. I want all the teenagers here to raise their hand. Right, so all of you are high schoolers, right? And I can attest that everyone here has heard the comments from, oh, that's gay, to, oh, she's so bossy. And they find their way into everyday interactions. And these incidents, of course, they seem minor on the surface, but they mean so much more. I'd like you to imagine being a boy, for example, who loves art and wants to join the school's art club, but can't because everyone tells him that's too girly. Or imagine being a girl that loves STEM, that loves math and computer science, but is discouraged from joining those careers because it's too hard for a girl. She can't manage that. Microaggressions build up like this until it's just too much for us to take. And this discrimination still affects how girls have the access to education today. Despite the progress we've made, many girls, especially those from underprivileged and impoverished backgrounds, end up sidelined by household chores and forced into early marriages. I don't even know how I'd feel if going to high school felt like winning the lottery, something that so much of us hate, right? And in a world where education should be a basic right, why do so many girls still miss out? Our discounted abilities have drained the potential of what could have been the future, our future. And another way this systemic issue rises is something called the pink tax. Have you ever noticed how products for women, like razors or shampoos, or even the same exact shirt, but for women, cost more than the items for men? It's not because they're better, it's just because they're marketed towards us. It's not just about a few dollars here and there, it adds up over time, and it shows the bigger problem of economic inequality. It shows that they think that women's needs and financial independence and security just don't matter as much. And every time I buy something small, like a deodorant or a t-shirt, I have to pay more just because I'm a girl. And it's another layer of unfairness that makes it harder for us to feel equal in this society. And all of this is just one part of the story. At the heart of it all is our self-worth, our esteem and our respect that is being diminished every single day. When girls are denied education and independence, and when they're made comments at, and then when they're made punchline of all the jokes, they're sent a message that their dreams and their potential just don't matter. And speaking of self-worth, there are a lot of words that I'm not allowed to say on this stage right now. And some of them I would never, ever allow myself to call someone. And these words are not just offensive. They are designed to degrade women based on stereotypes and societal expectations that are far too outdated. I'd like you to take a moment to think about these words. How casually do you use them? How casually do you see other people around you use them? Maybe the only thing I can talk about in terms of derogatory language is the entire girls have cooties thing. Remember that when we were in recess? in the playground teasing each other about it. But looking back, it's clear that even such seemingly innocent phrases plant the seeds of division and discrimination so early on. How did being a girl make me the carrier of contagious diseases that were life and death during recess? And you could argue that it's all child's play. That, of course, 7-year-olds can't think that deep, but isn't that where it all started from? The mentality that we must view girls as different and in some ways inferior and undesirable, something to be avoided and ridiculed. And as we grow older, these harmless jokes evolve into more harmless behaviors and actions. The same playground taunts morph into derogatory terms and stereotypes that belittle us. And it's not just about the words themselves. It's about the attitudes and beliefs they reflect. When we accept and use these derogatory terms, we contribute to a culture where patriarchy and discrimination thrive. We normalize this disrespect. In fact, we accept it. And since we've gone on the tangent about social expectations, let me ask you, how many of you have seen the trad wife trend online? If you could show by a raise of hands. Okay, very less of you. So for those who haven't, it stands for traditional wife. And it's this ideal that's been taken over social media. It's about promoting a lifestyle where women focus on household chores and serving their husband, and they adhere to very traditional gender roles. And the problem isn't with women choosing to be homemakers, if that's what they truly desire. The issue arises when this lifestyle is pushed onto the youth as the ideal and the only proper way to be a woman, making those who aspire to have a career feel less independent and feel less valued or supported in our world. And on the surface, it might, again, seem harmless. Some might even find it charming, attractive that a woman could be like this. But think about what it suggests to young women. It says that a woman's primary role is to stay at home and serve her partner. And when she doesn't want to be in that position, it can be incredibly limiting. It undermines the progress we've made towards equality by romanticizing a past where women had fewer rights and opportunities. Social media can be a powerful tool for spreading ideas. In fact, it's a really good catalyst for it, but it also reinforces harmful stereotypes and pressures. We need to be aware of these trends and question the images they promote. Are they empowering, or are they subtly encouraging us to conform to outdated expectations? And we've talked a lot about how microaggressions manifest, but can you imagine how it feels facing this overwhelming scrutiny every single day? Because I can, because I do, along with every other girl in this room. If any of you have taken a deep dive in psychology, you would have heard of Erikson's 8 stages of personality development. It's okay if you haven't, because I'm going to explain the 5th stage right now. It's called identity versus role confusion. And it's one that takes place during the adolescent years of a person. It says that we do not know who we are, where we're going, and what we can overcome. The questions we need to ask ourselves is, who will we be? What do we want to be? And what is the right path for us to take? Identity is all about who we are, our experiences, the people that we love, the memories that we want, what we believe in, and ultimately what makes us human. And for young women, or young anyone for fact, microaggressions only come in the way of forming this crucial identity. People who aren't able to resolve this stage might experience confusion and inconsistency in their roles and relationships, which can incredibly impact their self-esteem and their decision-making abilities, potentially leading to the imposter syndrome in the future. And I know that's a lot of words, and some of it doesn't make sense, but the gist of it is that it's bad. Let's cut through all this noise. Girls today are still battling against outdated stereotypes and unfair expectations. It's 2024, people, and yet we're still fighting for equal pay, respect in our classrooms, and the freedom of just not being judged by our gender. How can we celebrate progress when our dreams are still being weighed down? It's time for more than just hashtags and empty promises. We need real, tangible change. We need a world where every girl can chase her dreams without looking over her shoulder. We need a world where being a girl isn't a barrier, but a badge of pride. Our fight isn't just for ourselves. It's for your kids and their kids and all the generations to come, so that they can inherit a world where true equality is not a dream, but a lived reality. It's time to move beyond rhetoric and take concrete steps towards a future where every girl and woman can thrive, unburdened by the weight of these whispers and systemic inequalities. Together, we can create a world where every individual is seen, heard, respected, and valued, not just tolerated, a world without blacklists, where everyone gets to play, and where the only limits are the ones that we set for ourselves. Thank you.